Hello, welcome to Friday of Alienate UK. Over to Nicole.
That wasn't a very good intro, Andy.
I'll let you carry on.
Everybody, we have Andy, our wonderful host, and we are joined by Thomas Patrick Gormley, one half of the Shaman and the Showman. He is the shaman. He has been in the paranormal field for how long?
I think since dirt was clean, so going on a little over 40 years.
Wow.
Also known as Archangel of the Paranormal. So tell me a little bit about the Shaman and the Showman. How did you guys come together?
Okay. Well, the Shaman and the Showman, we've been together about 2 years now. There was a different shaman at the time. It's a promotions events group. And we do some of the biggest events in New England, like the Connecticut Paracon with 2 N's. We do also in Connecticut, the Connecticut Witch Festival. And we also, in November, we do the Salem Paracon. So we bring everybody up to Salem. So this past year was pretty crazy because we do have horror guests too during that time. And we got to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre this year. So we had 5 of the people from the original movie and just a lot of paranormal guests. So it was pretty exciting. We had it in October, which is a little crazy. So that's why we're going back to November, because it was a little too crazy for us to make it nice and smooth like we like to. We do psychic fairs. We do... we got Psychic Fair coming up in next weekend, and we have them at breweries. So there's already built-in guests already there, going to have their libations and then sit and learn about their future or what's going on in their lives to help them out. With that, we also do private investigations at a lot of locations that nobody's ever really been at. We get these locations, so it's nice and fresh for everybody to learn how to properly investigate. And but Charles Rosenay, who's the showman, it goes back those 2 years when we met. He had another shaman at the time, and the funny thing is we met at one of the psychic fairs, and we're just kind of talking and all that. And he looks at me and he says, "I don't like you," and I said, "I don't like you either." We started laughing, and 2 days later he called me because the other guy left and needed somebody to help him. So I assisted him, and then we just got along really well, saw things the same, and some things different, which makes a good pairing because you can't see everything the same to get progress like we keep trying to do and help everybody in the paranormal, have fun at all our events, laugh, cry, whatever it takes to have a good time. We're there for you. So.
Excellent.
Yep.
That's so cool. because you said about Connecticut and that. I know I'll keep going on about it, but when I came over to the States, that's where I went. I was in Connecticut. Then I went up to Salem, Massachusetts. Then it's like I was getting mixed up. Rhode Island, New Jersey, around that area. I think we did 6 states in 10 days in total.
Wow. Yeah.
So Manhattan and all that. So obviously you got to go to the famous sites, ain't you? But I found though that because I went to the Witch Museum in Salem.
Yeah.
But even just it's like a Thursday afternoon or something. It's a weekday.
Yeah.
It was just really, really quiet.
Yeah.
It had like a really eerie feeling to it. And I was expecting to be like people walking about, going shopping, just doing general stuff, but it wasn't anything like it. It was like, no pun intended, but like a ghost town, really. Is it always like that, or
Salem?
Yeah.
No. Salem is like
just the day I went.
No, you come the end of September, October. You cannot find any parking. The hotels quadruple in price. It's nuts, and it looks like Mardi Gras. You know, on Essex Street is the popular street in Salem that's all made of like brick, and all the shops are there and stuff. You can't move on that street. Yeah, good luck.
Wow.
So, it's just crazy. We thought it'd be a good idea this year to have it this year, but I just think, you know, it just was too crazy. You know, we don't want our vendors to have to spend that much money to come and vend and things like that. You know, in the guests to have a hard time going around. We want people to be able to relax, take in the history of the town and all that. So that's why we're going to go back to November this coming 2025.
Yeah. There is something about it in October, though. Like, it's just a magic of everybody, all the energy, all the hubbub. But for like a convention, November's good.
Yeah, I think if you personally want to visit and be amongst, personally go. Don't bring a whole shebang with you. So.
No. But I think I was there for like 3-4 hours and I've seen like 50 people, if that.
Yeah.
So
it does get quiet. That's when I like to go. I like to go in the springtime. It's really nice. You get to see everything. I get to breathe in the history. Just take it all in. I'm a big historian. I think in the paranormal, if you're not a good historian, then you're probably not a good investigator. So that's kind of how I look at it. If you don't know what's going on, how are you going to help? So, and that's I think the most important thing, who you're talking to and those types of things. And going up to the Salem with the history, and just even nearby, like Danvers, a lot of people don't realize is that's where it all started. Danvers was Salem Village. That's where it all started with Tituba and all that, and teaching.
Yeah, we drove through there.
Yeah, that's
because I was making mental notes of a lot of places. Obviously, on the East Coast, a lot of places are named after places in the UK.
Yeah.
But then you say like Denver and that, and it's just certain towns and places just stuck out to me. I couldn't even tell you why, but it was just it just did.
Yeah.
So
that whole area is great. You know, Gloucester's right nearby. You got that the castle there, and you know, which is cool, right on the water. Just, you know, a lot of, you know, the Perfect Storm and all that was filmed there. So those are always cool film sites and all that, especially in New England. My booking agent runs a tour company up in Maine, right near Bangor, and he takes you to all the sites that were used in Stephen King movies. So and that's pretty exciting too. So it's Adam Began, and you know, it's historically haunted tours and all that. So it's always fun if you ever get up there. It's not expensive. He'll take you around. Probably one of the best tour guides you'll ever have. He's always very excited and animated, which makes it good for you to be able to see all the sites, and just the knowledge that he has is unbelievable. So good dude.
Yeah, but just quickly, I'm coming like 3 times next year. I think I've got 3 times wrote down, so I'll be coming back to the US at least twice. But you saying about Connecticut, because when I was staying over there, I was in West Hartford, I think it was, around that area. We went to Mark Twain's house or houses. Have you ever been there to do an investigation or in that area? How did you find it?
I grew up in Connecticut. I've known about that. I've seen the Mark Twain house and all that stuff change over the years. Harriet Beecher Stowe's house is right next door. She wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. So there's a lot of history with them, just in that little lot area, but always knew about the Mark Twain. There's always stuff going on there, especially in October. They do haunted tours and all that, which is cool. I've investigated it like years ago. I think it's going on like 15 years ago that I investigated there. And, you know, I remember being up and smelling cigar smoke. I know he smoked a lot of cigars, so that's like one of the claims. And it was kind of cool to be able to, you know, see that claim. But I know he smoked a lot, you know, things could get embedded and stuff, but man, it was like somebody was like smoking right there and then. So it's distinct. So,
but I liked the way it was set out, because we got there, we didn't have a clue where we was going. And we're just going over to the bit and trying the doors, just trying to walk in these houses.
Yeah.
But then we realized if you go right round the back, that's where the entrance is to the the touristy part.
Yeah.
So they've probably seen us on camera, like trying to
because you can't just go up to the house. Down the stairs, there's a huge parking lot now, and then there's this, like, you know, more modern building, which, you know, they put some of the museum stuff in there. I know there's a few times they had Legos. They did a whole Lego figure of Mark Twain, which was kind of cool looking. So they have all kinds of stuff in there, and that's where you get your tickets to go on the whatever tour you're going on. So, and it starts from there, and then you go up, and they do the Harriet Beecher Stowe. You could go to that too. So it's quite set up well. Yeah, you just can't go up to the house.
Even though we tried.
Yeah,
it was like literally breaking in without knowing we was trying to break in.
Yeah, well, you're probably not the first one, so.
No, but it was just because it's 3 houses, isn't there, in total?
Yeah.
So we just didn't know where we was going, and because we'd gone in from the other side, we didn't see any signs. You just had you got the arrows pointing like this was a house. This is not the stables, but like the different names of the buildings. So we was just going off that. And then we walk around, it's like, oh yeah, right, let's go. It was one of them. Yeah.
Good excuse when the cops pull up.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't have done it because you could walk the grounds and all that. Just to go in, you'd have to get a tour ticket or whatever. But you could walk the grounds. They don't have a problem with that. So, yeah. I don't know if anything's changed. It's been probably 5 years since I've gone, but yeah. Cool place. What else did you take in?
Well, we were supposed to go over to where he's buried in the cemetery, but for some reason we forgot. Even though we was out in that part of Connecticut, we completely forgot that we was going there, and I don't even know how we forgot we was doing that. I think it's because we knew that 2 days later we was driving up to Boston, going around Boston. And then we was going to go to Salem, because the options were go up to Boston, meet a couple more people, go around Salem, or drive all the way down to Florida, Orlando, go to Disney World, do 2 of the parks, and then drive all the way back to JFK, and then me fly home. So, and it was a solid 23-hour drive each way, no stopping, just stopping for fuel, and that was it. So it was like 46 hours, and then doing 2 theme parks in the middle of it, and then 7-hour flight back to the UK. So it's like it had been too long.
Wow, that's crazy.
But I've got I'll just show you quickly. So that's the house that we tried getting in. That's Matt Twain's house. That's me.
Oh yeah.
Freezing. So,
when did you come in? What month was it?
It was March, beginning of March. That's there we go.
It was definitely still cold then. Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of snow.
Yeah.
But it was good. I'm just gutted that I didn't know more about the places I was going to before I got there.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of like we knew where we was going and what we was going to do, but we didn't have a full inventory of, right, we're going to go here on this day and do this, this, and this. It was like, well, we'll go here and we'll go there. And we just kind of fitted it in. It was more that than anything else. Like,
Yeah.
but thrown together, but got done quite a lot. But going back to Salem, we actually drove around the cemetery.
Okay.
That's a big place.
Yeah, which cemetery? I think there's like 3 major ones right around that area.
I think it's one of the newer ones because the headstones looked very new, very clean, and there's all set out in rows. It was very symmetrical.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Salem's quite a place. So
yeah, I did enjoy it. I just wish I could have stayed longer, but it was like literally there for the day, and then we had to drive back.
Just extend your trip even more when you're here next year.
I know. Well, I've got 5 weeks holiday, so I think I should be all right.
Just take them all.
If you come to Connecticut, I'll show you some real crazy places.
Yes. Well, one of the places we was going to go to, is it one of the national parks? Is it Dinosaur Park? I think it is. Where they've got the big footprints up on the rocks.
Yep. Yeah, it's Rocky Hill. It's right on what's called Interstate 91. It's right off that. It's the most preserved footprints from dinosaurs in the country. So that's we used to go there when we were younger. It's been around for, of course, a lot longer than we've been around. But
just a few years, 42 years.
Yeah. Anybody. But you know, that being there is pretty cool. I grew up in Connecticut. I grew up in a town called Southington, and if you've known, there was a movie called The Haunting in Connecticut. So, and that was based off of Ed and Lorraine had a case right in Southington. The house was a former funeral home, and the people that lived there were renting it because to be closer, because their son was going through cancer treatment. And then just some crazy stuff happened with, I think, a lot of the energy of the family, what they were going through, created that poltergeist type of activity and some crazy negative stuff. But that house is still there. You go by it. People go by it all the time, just like Amityville. People stop and take pictures. You drive up that Meriden Avenue Road, you're always going to see somebody popping out trying to take a picture of the house. So it's still there. So, and,
I'll tell you where else I did go. Sorry, just quickly, and then I'll shut up. I promise.
No,
it wasn't. We went to Farmington, to where Tyson used to live, where his missus sold the house to 50 Cent.
Yeah,
and it's on a normal road, but it's all gated. It's on the left. You know, you drive up, and there's no one living there, and you've got the gatehouses, security. You got the big metal gate, and you can see down into it.
Yeah,
and there's just nothing going on.
Yeah,
that's just weird. That blew my mind a little bit.
Well, you find that a lot more and more, especially in this state. You know, there's a lot of places that are extravagant like that, and just with all of our changes in our country, they're left abandoned.
Just no one. There's no cars in there.
Get it or can't afford it.
No, but didn't his wife sell it to 50 Cent for like $1? It was.
I'm not sure on that history of that, but it probably.
It was like next to nothing, and he used to have all the parties there. The streets were blocked. All the neighbors had complained about it, and now it's just there's nothing. But another thing that got me when we was driving up there, there's a carriageway at the back they don't use it. It's been they built it, but it never got used. Do you know anything about that one? I can't remember the name of it.
So that would be interesting.
So you can see. So as you're coming up the main highway, freeway, whatever you call it, there's another one just a little bit higher and set back, and you can see the bridges. There's all graffiti and everything on it, but they've built it, and I don't know if they built all of it or they built a certain percentage of it, but it never ever got used. They was going to open it, and then they just stopped, and it's just there's this road for so many miles that. It never got linked to anything. They put the concrete blockers on it so you couldn't link it to the other roads. And I thought that was strange because of where it is and how it is.
Yeah, it's the highway to nowhere.
But you can't get on it. You can't get off it. So
there's a lot of crazy things in Connecticut that don't make sense. something starts, money gets lost, new government comes in and stops one project over another. That seems to go on a lot in our country. It is strange.
Yeah.
You know, I think just stick to one thing and finish it. But I'm not the one making those decisions, I guess.
No. Hey, and it's too easy to do that anyway.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I got to finish stuff. If I don't finish it, then it'll drive me crazy. So I don't get into the leaving a bridge hanging with nothing, you know, finished to it.
That's a big project to leave.
Yeah. So.
A big project. So I was going to ask you about the haunting in Connecticut. Did I read somewhere that you had like a connection to Ed and Lorraine, and that's kind of how?
Yeah. The year, I think it was 85, 86 is when the haunting in Connecticut case happened. And I just happened to meet Ed and Lorraine. I was about 13, 14 at they would give talks at all the colleges just to warn the kids about divination and those types of things, using talking boards, Ouija boards. And I got to watch, and then later on you get to do a meet and greet, and Lorraine like came right up to me, and I always been that weird kid that always felt weird energies and didn't know what it was. And then she explained what it was to me, and just I was grateful for that, and had time to go over the years up until I went to college, where I'd go to the house and they would have other things on like Halloween where they would show you more of the exorcism stuff, more of the stuff they don't show to the regular crowds and all that, because it would probably be a little too freaky for most people at the time. And yeah, you get to meet people along the way. A lot of them, you know, I knew them back then, and we still later on have those relationships. But now we're all so old. when did we last see each other? That kind of thing, you know, like people like Johnny Zappis and Joe Frankie and all those people and all that. But yeah, it's a long journey, and you learn along the way. You learn from some of the best. You come up with new ways of doing things too. And like I always tell people, if it wasn't for Ed and Lorraine, no matter what you think, none of us be talking like this right now. That's the way I look at it.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they did 100%. Huge things for the paranormal community.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of controversy. There's always some controversy with everybody. When you get to that level, yeah. But the thing is the thing that makes me laugh is it's usually based off of ego. And I'm one of those people that it's paranormal. None of us are right or wrong about it. So unless you were there, I think your opinion doesn't really count. So
see, that's my favorite. That's my favorite tagline. Brian Kano was on a few weeks ago, and his thing was, "Were you?" I was showing him a video, and he's like, "Were you there?" I'm like, "No," but that stuck in my head. It's like, if you're not there, you can't comment either way as to whether it's legit, fake, whatever. You just got to take it.
You're right. I get it all the time. People show me something, and I'm like, it could be, but I wasn't there. I don't know how the light bounced. I don't know. I can't interpret it. But I always tell people, if this helped you research more, then it did what it was supposed to do. So, you know, you're going to learn. People have to make their mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes over 40 years, and I learned from them. You either learn from them or you don't. I am very grateful for what the field's done to me. And I do look at things, but I'll tell you, if your ego's too big, you'll get too far away from spirit, and you'll forget what we're all here for, to help the living and to help the dead. That's all I do. So that's it. All this other stuff around me is cool. And I like to spread that message, just to keep it simple. You know, you're never going to get rich off this stuff. So if you think you are, nope, unless you're somebody like Zach Baggins, but he's invested to get to that point. So he's done other stuff outside of the paranormal.
He does it for entertainment purposes, so he can get away with it. Yeah,
it's a totally different thing. But this work is, you know, it's tough. It goes either way. You know, I've done a lot of home cases. Those are probably the most difficult things to do. You know, you can't please everybody. Everybody thinks their house is haunted. You tell them it's not, they get mad at you. It's like, well, why did you call me? And, you know, I just want to come in to help ease the, you know, if you got fear, or you don't understand what's going on. I want to be able to help you with that. So don't call me just to see if your house is haunted and you don't care and you want it to be haunted. If you want it to be haunted, it will be. If you put enough intention into it, after a while, it probably will become haunted. So
Get a little tulpa running around.
yeah, exactly. So,
yeah. Well, if I called you and you come out and you're like, no, it's not haunted, I'd be like, oh, thank God for that. I can carry on living there. If you said it's haunted, it's like, right, where am I going to move to? I don't want to live in a haunted house. I don't mind going now and again, but I don't want to stay there.
It is. Majority of the time, I'd have to say, in all my time doing this, I think maybe 20% of the time I had to look into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
80% of the time is explainable and all that, but we're talking thousands of investigations, so that's a very small percentage. And like I said, some of the stuff, I could write a book about, but some of the stuff, it's just, I've forgotten about because it was nothing, unfortunately. But that's where it comes in. And again, I tell people, I go in, it's not what they think it is. They're putting their own thought into it. Sometimes it's just treating the psyche of the person there. They started watching like horror movies and now they think their house is haunted or something. It's just interviewing them and getting the right thing. Somebody changed the medication and they're hallucinating, or those things you have to know about. I have that background in psychology, and just looking at things a little differently than maybe most investigators do. I do take it very, very seriously, but I am one of the biggest jokers you're going to find. So I'm always good for a laugh and all that.
You always got to be, though.
Yeah, you got to keep
like
it.
That. You've got to
keep it light. So.
Yeah. That's the best people in the field, I think, or in the community. When you go into it and you're serious about what you're doing, but you're not a serious person. Like you're not a stick in the mud.
You know what to do and how to be at the right time, but you can still have a laugh doing it.
Oh yeah, I still have that childhood awe of it, and I do have a tight circle, and I do have friends. We just trade like funny memes every day, and we're laughing. Just even when we do investigations, sometimes we're laughing so hard. But I tell you, when I'm on investigations and we're sitting there and we're just like laughing and talking, more activity starts. It's almost like the spirits want to join you. So if you keep it light like that, you do have a serious side, but that funny side, it brings out more, and you're able to get down to what's really going on. And people forget to do that. When you're too serious, your ego's too big. And I don't want to investigate with anybody like that. I want it to be fun.
Well, imagine
if you were dead and all that, wouldn't you want to have fun? If somebody's having fun, I want to join. I want to talk more.
24/7.
You don't want to sit there with people who are like, shh, don't talk, don't do anything.
But look at it this way. If you go around to someone's house and they're being all serious and that, how many minutes, I could count in seconds, is it before you get bored and want to leave?
Yeah.
But if you're there and you're having a laugh, you're having fun, the atmosphere, it completely changes everything about what's going on. And you want to stay. You end up to the point, it's like, I'm just going to sleep here tonight. I'll go on when it stops being fun. It does go down that route.
Yeah. It is. Your whole investigation comes down to one thing. It's your intention. So whatever intention you put into it is what you're going to get out of it.
Definitely.
So the improper intention will probably give you nothing, or things you don't want to do with.
Certain people get a lot of negative experiences while they're investigating versus like we never get negative experiences when we're out. We always interact with entities.
Well, that's the thing is I don't really get them. I get called into places that have negative things going on, but a lot of times they're explainable. But if you go in with the intention you watch too much TV, you got your weekend warrior TV watchers and all that, and it becomes more harm than good. I've had people say, oh, I could do a home investigation, and then I get called after because the people are having more issues now. You stir things up, just because the spirit, their shell's gone, they can still get upset, Yeah. If I told you to get the F out, you probably get mad at me, but, you still.
But they tell us to get the F out all the time.
That's it. Because the energy is built, I think, a lot of it is on emotion. Like you said, there's no physical harm. So the rest of it, it's got to be emotions. It's got to be different types of energy, which is all the same. I think it is anyway.
Yeah, a lot of the spirit world, I really firmly believe that they still have some kind of semblance of consciousness and understanding, especially with something that's non-residual, that's like interacting with us or something. You know, there's, I always look at it this way. A lot of the spirits that are still here, either they want to be here or they're stuck. And it's a matter of communicating with them, just like we're communicating right now, and which is what I do as a shaman. I am a healer. I heal both sides, the living and the dead. And when I do that, I do have an agreement with my spirit guides, just so I'm not trying to move things on that don't. Some people going, you all get out of here and leave these. You can't do it that way. It is, you have to approach each case on an individual basis. So if I'm talking to a spirit, my spirit guides know through ITC device or any kind of divination device that spells out any names. If you come on an investigation with me, you will hear my name called through a device, and it's not anything spooky to me. It's an agreement I made with my spirit guides that if another spirit that's amongst them while I'm at this location needs help to move on, then call my name. Then I know, okay, somebody needs help, and now I could get to work. If my name doesn't get called, I assume that nobody needs help. They want to stay. They're happy where they're at. So I'm not moving anything along that shouldn't be moved along. So, but also knowing the people that are living, what they're going through psychologically, and how I could help put them on the right track if they need further medical attention or somebody to talk to. You know, I got to, you know, discern with that also. So there's a lot that goes into it. I just think when people do home cases, they have to understand all that. If you don't, you know, sometimes, again, you could do more harm than good. So there's very few people that, you know, I think are good at home cases. But I like to have them on my Rolodex because I go in alone now. And I know what I'm dealing with. If there's a haunted object, you know I could call my friends Danny and Lauren Perez, the Radicals, and have them come in and get that haunted object out of there, or even John Zaffis, or, you know, those types of things. You know, I'm well versed on demonology, but it's not something I would approach by myself. I do have other people I could call that are well versed on it too. It's keeping those relationships in that tight circle. So not only you guys are like-minded, but you have your specialties. You come together, like we like to call the dream team, and just help the community or anybody that's going through something. I think it's more important that way. I know there's a lot of big teams out there. As long as you guys all get together, you're on the same page, then great. But I'm more of I like to get the specialists in and all that. So once I discern what's going on, say, okay, I need this person. I think they're going to give us the best opportunity to help the client or just help whatever spirit is there.
No, thank you for that.
Important is knowing when to tap out and call in somebody who has more knowledge than you. And that goes to what you said with ego. Some people just don't do that because they think they are the best.
They think they could fix. They think they could fix everything and all that. And I've tapped out quite a few times over the years, but I'm to the point now. It's just, I might tap out, but I'm still going to be there to experience it because I want to get that knowledge with experience. You could read all you want, you could study all you want, all this other stuff, but it's just like anything else. You know, you major something in college until you actually put it into practice. It's hard. You know, you got to get that experience. And what happens, you try this to try and help with this and try all these different things. Man, I've used all kinds of equipment you could think of. And when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, all the stuff I've tried, it's still my feel and my empath abilities is still my best piece of equipment. So it doesn't, you know, that's all that matters, because when I pick up, that's when I pull equipment out. Okay, let me verify how I'm feeling, or I'm feeling weird here. And then I know. And that's all I really use it for. You won't see a lot of stuff with me on YouTube or anything like that showing all evidence, because a lot of times it's, you know, private stuff that we do. But sometimes I put stuff up because I think it's cool. But believe you me, I've already looked at it a couple thousand times and know that it's actually, in my experience, legit. So and I'm too stupid to do anything crazy because I know nothing about technology. So forget
Right?
it.
It's too much work to fake things. I'd rather just put things up that are real.
Yeah,
and
you
then,
have to. We're killing our community with fake stuff. So,
well, I'm in a while. I'm going to put a couple of pictures up for you to look at, and these are from a live stream that me and Sarah from To Investigate that used to come on hosting. She will be back in the new year once because she does pantomime, she does theatre and all that. So she does panto like November, December, January. So once all that's finished, she's going to be coming back on the show, which is all good. But just going back a little bit to what you were saying about removing haunted objects and all that, your mate Simon's put in the chat. So I'm going to turn it into a question, but I'll put what he said. So he put, I'm haunted, the house isn't. So do you ever find that it's a person, well, not they're haunted as such, but they're the one that are drawing all this energy towards them, and regardless of where they live and what they're doing, they could be shopping or on a bus or on holiday on the beach or whatever, and they're constantly getting this energy following them, I suppose.
Yeah. You're exactly right. A lot of times it isn't the house. It's the people that are in the house. Case in point, Amityville. Anybody that's lived there after has never had any issues. I think the people that lived there, they were haunted. They were practicing occultism, the father there and all that. And I think he drew in a lot of that negative energy from the DeFeo family murders beforehand. And I think that's what caused it. Once they were gone, that house, I don't think was haunted anymore.
No.
That, they helped to remove that negative energy from when those people left. Also, the haunting in Connecticut, in Southington, that house never had an issue after that either. And I firmly believe that the boy going through cancer treatment and the family with the stress and all that, and then living in a home that was a former funeral home, and that energy together, they created that negativity that had to be removed by the Warrens and in the clergy. So sometimes people say, well, that's fake. It wasn't haunted to begin with. No, it was. It was haunted by the people. It's not the house. Everybody takes pictures of the Amityville house. It wasn't that. You should go take pictures of the people that caused the whole thing to begin with, because it goes either way. It's not always the house. Sometimes I've seen in a lot of cases where there's energy in every place we go. So, and it's how you interact with it. If I walk into a bar and I say, anybody want to fight? Somebody's going to probably fight me. But if I go and buy everybody drinks, everybody's going to love me. So it's the same thing. If your energy going into a new house, let's say the energy in that house was from a former World War II that went through a lot of PTSD.
Yeah.
The family that moves in, none of them were involved in the military, but then they move out and then a family moves in that's a military family. They're going to get more of the haunting because that spirit recognizes that military service, and that's what helps him try to communicate his story or her story. So that's why I always like to ask, I get the history of the place. So what did you guys do? And then I could see that how it meshes, at another house that wasn't haunted until a guy moved in with the other guy, and both of them had near-death experiences, and that created that type of energy too. So it is certain things create that perfect storm of people to create that energy to come out of the house that's always there. So
do you get that on your events as well? Because you do a lot of public events that you can be getting nothing until like a certain person comes in and then all the activity goes crazy.
Exactly. And that's happened a lot. When Charles and I do an event, we don't do a one-day event. We go to the same location, 2 separate days, like a Friday and a Saturday, and then totally different things could happen, and sometimes the spirit there needs to get comfortable before it interacts. We had an event in East Haven, Connecticut at a trolley museum, and it's very haunted there. A lot of stories about it. One of the places is big like garage like thing where they keep a lot of the old trolleys. But one of the crazy ones was they had one of the 2 surviving subway cars that were under the trade centers during 9/11.
Oh yeah.
So you have that energy there. But I was on, with the group, we were on one of the trolleys that was from New Orleans. And the first night we were there, just picking up on weird stuff, and people are kind of moving around and all that. And just all of a sudden in my mind and through the ITC device, I heard somebody say, my name's Billy, and Billy wanted to go to college. And that was it. And I'm like, well, that's pretty crazy. So, but it's weighed on my mind. And then the next night we go, and we let the patrons hold the equipment, move around. And one of the patrons had a millimeter, which picks up, electromagnetic frequencies. You could do a lot of things with it. But they were at the front of the trolley. We were back on the same trolley. And the guy giving the tour, who's had a lot of experiences, and she's picking up, if you've ever used these EMF detectors like 0.1, 0.2, you're like, oh yeah, that's cool. This thing was 96 point something, she was saying. And I could feel the energy move through the trolley, and everybody kind of stopped. And then I knew something was up. So I had everybody sit down. I had the ITC device out. I started communicating with Billy. Billy was coming through. He wanted to tell his story. So in my mind's eye, I pick up on things, and I knew Billy wanted to go to college, but it looked like I had images of World War II, and I think he went off to war, and I was picking up maybe he died. So I said, Billy, if you went off to serve and you died for our country, I said, that's college. And then all of a sudden, all the energy just whooshed through the car and just like dissipated, and then the millimeter went back to zero, like instantaneous. Wow. And so it's something like I do, I give people, or the dead, the words, and they make the decision if they want to leave. And I had another friend, I knew Billy. I was like, okay, I want to verify this. So I called a friend of mine who's also a shaman, and he's very good with last names, and he gave me a last name, and I looked it up, and there was a William with the last name from New Orleans that went off to World War II, but he didn't die. So I got confused, but then I really thought about it. When some people go off to war, their PTSD is so bad, they change their life path on a path that they didn't originally want to go on. It's almost like a living death. And that's kind of how we look at it, where you go through so much trauma that it changes your supposed life path that you should be on. And you just don't realize it or have the energy to be able to get back on that path. That's what people with trauma go through. Until you heal that trauma, it's hard to get back on the right path that, the people that are guiding you are trying to get you to go on. So, and I think that's one of those stories, and that's probably what happened to Billy.
Yeah. Hmm.
So with the being stuck, because there's a lot of different opinions on this. Do you think that a spirit is physically stuck, or can get physically stuck, or do you think it's more of a mental thing?
Well, no, we're talking about energy. That energy is still around, and like I said, I think there's still some form of consciousness, that still holds on to that trauma. Another thing is when people die, in the shaman world, when you die pure. But if you still have trauma, that darkness holds you here, and you have to cut the cord. You hear a lot of people talking about cutting cords and things like that. It's that attachment to where we are now, the traumas that happen, the things that happen in our life that we never healed from properly. I don't want anybody to get scared and think, oh, I have trauma, I'm never going to be. No, it's some people get in a car accident, it happens so fast, they don't realize consciously that they are dead. They're still around. You just have to let them know. I've done cases where I've actually picked up a death certificate of the person I know it was and show them in the air. I can't see them, but I'm saying, hey, take a look at this, and then all of a sudden, the energy changes. Like they've said, okay, maybe I am dead, and they make that decision. But another thing is a lot of people, they say, oh yeah, just go follow the light, follow the light. It really isn't that. All right. The light, I think, is more of your happy place. So when you're helping spirit, just anybody listening and all that, just a little tidbit. It's always worked after many, many years of practice. I like to talk to spirit and find out what their happiest time was and take them there consciously, to take them back. We had a case where the person was happy, loved daisies, and said, well, picture yourself in a daisy field. And they did. And they said, well, I see where I need to go now. And you can hear them talking on the ITC device. And that's all it is sometimes. It's like connecting a mother and her children, they weren't on the same plane. Just being able to have her picture the best time with her kids, and it created that plane to, in theory, to connect. And she said, "Oh, there they are." And you hear this stuff going off. It's many years of practice and all that, and it doesn't happen all the time. It is very profound when it does. It's not. Sometimes it could take a one sitting, but sometimes it could take many, many, many sittings. I'm still working with a spirit that was intoxicated at the time he was bludgeoned to death and murdered. I think he's still in that consciousness of drunkenness and just doesn't understand. And it's like trying to figure out, well, what could I say to a drunk person to let them know they're not here anymore? That's still what I'm trying to come up with. And it's very difficult. I know he needs help, and the trauma is keeping him here too. It's actually shown up on an SLS camera where we were talking, and you have the spirit, and then he's like, help. So we try to help him. Once he's about to make the decision, another figure pops up, and then he starts swearing at us, like he's trying to pretend, but it shows up on that camera, which was very profound and odd to me, that his whole demeanor would change when another figure would pop up. And that tells me that's his trauma holding him back. And it's a matter of getting rid of that and getting him to understand, which is very difficult. It is very wild. I know some people, they don't believe in that stuff. And, after years of doing it, it's like walking for me now. I have things come to me all the time, and sit there, and when I, let my boundaries down, I usually keep my boundaries up majority of the day. But there's times that, I want to listen to spirit if they need help. My house isn't haunted, but my front door is open for a spirit. And it happens a bit, there is that time of the day where I like to meditate and help them. So it does happen. So.
Cool. Yeah. Right. I've got 2 questions for you, and then we'll have a quick break. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah. So the first one is, so say there is a property that is supposedly haunted, and there's been many reports of I'll give an example. There's a place near me. There was an oldish man that was haunting it, and a little girl, both on different parts. And it was a pub. But since loads of people reporting it, but the pub got shut down, the land got bought, and they've knocked the building down. It's still waiting to be developed on. They're supposed to be building like a small apartment block. It's probably only about 200 square feet, if that.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen to them spirits? Would they still be there? Would they move on to somewhere else? Because if the land is what's haunted, surely they'd sit in limbo, waiting for whatever's going to be built there next.
Yeah. Well, the theory is it could go either way. Again, we're not 100% right or wrong about the paranormal. No. But what I've witnessed in the past is you could see a spirit walk through a wall that used to be a door back in the 1800s of that house. So even though that building is gone, they may still be in that time of that building. So time's relative. We look at our watches, the spirit wheel doesn't. To them, it might still be, the timeline. I don't want to blow your minds or anything, but Einstein said light bends. You have the past, the present, and the future all in the same timeline. Let's say that it does, light is time, it bends. So the past could bend into where we are right now. That's why you see stuff from the past residually.
Yes.
Or sometimes we see stuff from the future. And that's happened. And I've had a lot of the cases, people talking about seeing something when they were little, and then later on they grow up and they see it again. As well, that's already happened when I was younger, and now it's happening now. It's like a futuristic thing. What was it? The Haunting on Hill House, the bent neck lady.
I was just thinking that. I don't want to give away spoilers, but like,
but you guys understand that. So anybody watch that, and you'll see what I mean by seeing something at younger and how it connects to you older. So, you could be, I always say, you spend enough time at a place investigating over and over again.
Yeah.
You put enough energy into it, you can haunt yourself. So,
someone else said that the other week. Who said that?
The what?
Someone else mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard it before about haunting yourself, but
Yep.
it makes sense.
Yeah.
But so could they then? So this guy and this girl, these spirits that were haunting the pub, could they still be there and the pub still be there for them?
Yes, that's
Right.
the theory.
Yeah.
Again, anything we talk about today, through experience and what I've seen and evidence I've seen,
Yeah.
then I would say, yeah, they're still living in their time. They have no idea that it's not there anymore, potentially.
Yeah.
Do things move on? I don't know. I was just on a podcast. I do true crime too. I'm known as a expert on serial killers and profiling historic serial killers. So it goes to the point where the Charles Manson, when they murdered all the people at the Sharon Tate house, a lot of people don't know is the Sharon Tate house was destroyed. The land is still there, and then a gentleman named David Oman lives in a house now on that property, and we literally witnessed spirits in the background when we were talking to him on that episode.
Wow.
We could see him in the background, and there were, the Folgers woman there who was the heir to Folgers. We were picking up on the spirits from that murder still on that property. So that's something I experienced and witnessed. But, it could go either way. But I've seen more of it, them living like it's still there and like it's gone. So
wow.
Yep.
So I didn't even think of it like that. It's just something that when you just don't think of it. You're trying to think of every other way except what is probably the most obvious thing to consider.
What happens, talking to you guys today, what I'm telling you, and Nicole and I have talked quite a bit, and she says stuff that I'm like, oh, I never thought of it that way. That's why we do things like this. This field isn't going to go forward unless we have talks like this. People look at things a little differently, and then you're like, oh, I never thought of it that way, and then becomes part of your repertoire, and it just gives you more experience to move on and be able to assist with, again, the living and the dead. That's all it really comes down to. So,
yeah, I like how you mentioned, and a lot of the really good people in this community mentioned, like, nothing that I say is fact. It's paranormal. Like, even if I was there, I don't necessarily know what happened. I know what I experienced, but I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Well, it is all the time, and people they get into your face and they're all like serious, like, you're wrong, and I'm like, I probably could be, but show me that you're right. So, and then we'll talk about it, because you can't tell somebody they're wrong unless you could prove it. And in this field, once you prove it, guess what? It's not paranormal anymore. It's normal. So, that's all it is. That's all you've done. Put your ego aside and all that. We're all here to learn. Everybody has their own, concepts of what it might be, what it might not be. And I love to listen to everybody's things, because it might help me solve something I've been thinking about and all that. And just get better and better at this. That's all it's going to be. There's never, ever going to be an expert in the paranormal field. It's just experience. That's all it is.
Yeah.
But even that, people who are like that shit crazy, I feel like there's a little bit of truth to what they're saying. No,
well,
but like,
there is
way out there.
Yeah, we do have that. It is the paranormal. We do get a lot of people in the paranormal. They're a little off the rocker, but they mean well. There's so many people that go through trauma. They're on the darker side of things, and there's so many different niches in the paranormal and all that. But it is strange. There is people that got the big egos and all that, trying to prove something, and it's we do have a crazy field, but it's just like any other field, and so that's all it is.
But it's like it is. I could rhyme off every single account experience that I've had, and out of say 70, I don't know, I'm just guessing, I could probably say that 3 of them I believe it's this. The rest of them not got a clue. I can tell you what I've seen, tell you what happened, what went on, everything about it. But times what go on then, Andrew. Yeah, forever. I could not say it was 100% this.
Yeah.
I had one this week on Wednesday. I was driving back to work, and I seen a person that was already halfway across the road, black trousers, white top, dark hair, and they crossed into this house, and it was It was an old RAF water tower that had been converted into a house. So I'm driving past because I thought I'd be nosy. I'll have a quick look, see who lives there. It's just one of those peculiar houses, isn't it? You want to see what's going on. And as I look, it's a solid fence about 7-8 foot high with bushes in front of it. The person either climbed over the fence or dug and went under the fence. There's nobody there. And I couldn't put it down to being anything else. I've driven past there since, and there's no signs there. There's nothing to show. I thought it might be a for sale sign or a to let sign. And it's just the way the light caught it. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. And this happened 2 days ago. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. But you had the experience to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Because guess what? That's your personal experience. It makes you better at determining or discerning what's going on. You know, you could tell somebody, they may not believe you, whatever, but for you, you saw it, you experienced it, and that makes you look into it even more to garner more experience to be able to help other people. When you help yourself, you're able to help other people. So let's just put it that way. If you're comfortable with who you are and your amount of knowledge and all that, it really doesn't matter from there, you know. Just help people and do that, and then your experiences and all that. I tell people all the time when I do a speech, before I even start, I always tell people, this is what happened to me. I don't expect you to believe everything I said, but if this helps you on your path, then I know I was here for a reason. So that's pretty much it. You know, I've seen some crazy stuff that people would think I was off my rocker, but you know, there was other people there at the time, but I've seen stuff that I see it on a daily basis, you know, and it's just normal to me. Other people are like, oh my God, it's like, aren't you scared? It's like, I've been seeing this stuff since I was little, you know, it's not a big deal. I think I have more control over it now with that experience and to be able to help other people. Almost to the point, like I said, to me, it's like walking and talking, you know, let's come to that point. You know, is everybody at that point? No. I'm more than happy to help people get to that point, and I'm more than happy to listen to people, you know, that might say something to get me even further. We're always trying to level up. You know, we're never going to 100% know, but I'd rather get closer to 100% than 0%. So,
all right, Andy, it's time for the question.
Do you want to ask it, or do you want me to ask it?
You go ahead and ask it.
So we have a question that we ask everyone, regardless. So the question, I'll be as
boxers.
No. I'm glad you didn't say commando. No. So the question is, right, if you personally, with everything that goes on in the paranormal, you could find everything out. So you knew the connection, the patterns, everything was laid out in front of you, it was explained, and you're like, yeah, I get it 100%. I now know exactly what is going on, why it's happening, what I said, what the connections are, what the patterns are. Would you want to know, or would you be like, well, I don't really want to know, because once you know, then that's it. There's nothing else is paranormal. It stops there. Now, I'm not going to tell you what we think straight away, but we disagree. I think one thing, Nicole thinks the other. And we've both got our reasons, so it's not just for the sake of it.
Well, nobody has a podcast about the sky being blue, because we all could agree to that.
Yeah.
I think if we knew all the answers and all that, all this would go away. We would lose that connection with each other on a human level. I think that we never will know. I think the spirit world, we always ask them, well, what is it? Some people ask, well, what happens while you're dead and all that? We never get an answer, because I think there's a higher power working that keeps that information from us to begin with. I think it's the chase. I think it's the journey. That's why it's so exciting on what we do. I think if we knew everything, then it'd just be like anything. Oh, I've already watched this movie 20 times. I don't want to watch it anymore. You know, it creates a boredom. I never want this to be boring. You know, if it was boring, then it'd be like, oh, you know.
Exactly. That's I like to know little bits and pieces and try and work out the puzzle myself.
Yeah.
But Nicole wants to know everything. It's like, no,
I want to know it all.
Nothing.
Yeah.
There's always more. There's always more. Once you know the what's, then you can find out the whys.
But if you know everything, there isn't anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
I've tried, Thomas, so many times.
I'm a rabbit hole guy.
Nothing.
Everybody knows that. Anybody that's known me, my
best.
biggest phrase is down the rabbit hole again. I have mugs that I sell. I'm a rabbit hole guy. I like the chase. I like once I think I know something else comes up and it makes me think even more. That's where experience comes in. That's the little kid in me wanting to, like Nicole, she wants to know everything, but it's the chase. The wanting to know everything is what makes this field exciting. So both you guys asking that question are both kind of right in a way. You know? So
I suppose. A little bit.
All right, you want to do a quick break, Andy?
Yeah, we'll do a quick 2-minute break.
And then we have questions.
Got quite a few questions. I've still got a couple of questions for you as well.
Yeah, you bring them on. I'll answer them as best as I can.
So the music that I'm going to play. Yeah, we need photo evidence. No, I'm only messing. So the music that I'm playing in the break is from Baby with a Laser, who's in the chat. Darren, he wrote it. There's a backstory to it. I'll let him tell you if he wants, if he's still in the chat. So he's wrote it, he played it, and he just banged it out. And this is what we've got. So the full version is 5 minutes long, but we're just going to do like the mid section of it. So play this, and then we will be back straight after with the rest of your guys' questions. So
all right, everybody watching, go to the restroom with your phone in your hand so you can see the clear
Yes, turn the volume up.
Yeah.
We'll see you in 2.5 minutes.
All right.
Hello, hope you enjoyed that.
Hey, what's going on?
I actually put a timer, I put a start and a end on that bit. Whereas if we played the full one, I forgot to put an intro and outro on it. So he's like, you just got to guess or count in your head.
Yeah. Usually we get like a countdown and like a sound that tells me that we're coming back. So I gotta run right back.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that this weekend. Get all ready. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
I just want to play it because he's a good friend of mine, and like I said, the story to it and what have you. And it is a really, really good track. And if anyone wants to listen to the full version of it, you can find it on SoundCloud. I think it is. I'll get the link and I'll share it. I'll put it in the description as well. So
yeah, SoundCloud's a big one. A lot of people put their. I don't know if you guys know. I was a demo singer in Nashville for quite a while, and musician, songwriter.
It's all coming out now, isn't it?
I was a backup for season 1 of Nashville Star back in the early 2000.
Oh my gosh!
So during COVID, I would play one song every day for everybody when we were during lockdown.
Oh wow!
I was just like, and then when it kind of dissipated, I was like back to paranormal, you know. It was a little harder.
We're doing karaoke.
There you go. Yeah. Next time we're all hanging out, we'll go do some karaoke and all that. It's funny, back in the day, they would do all these karaoke contests and all that. And at the time, you know, I was like struggling financially and all that. So I would go to all these contests and just go and win to get extra money. And then I started getting banned from the contest. She's a professional singer. And it's like, well, you know, it's like I don't get up in the morning and go sing, but you know, so I started getting banned. Yeah, I started getting banned from all the contests. They started making me a judge, and they would give me free beer. So I was like, well, I guess that's pretty good.
Yeah. Please take this as a compliment. But when you were saying that, then I just thought of Happy Gilmore.
Yeah.
You know, I just pictured that, like going in and just smashing it, and everyone's going like, "Yeah, right, what's going on?"
Yeah. So it was like that movie Duets. There was a movie, and I think Huey Lewis was in it, and Huey Lewis was like a scammer. Yes. He would go and like look like a nerd, and then go up and sing the crap out of a song. And,
yeah.
I felt like a scammer, like that guy that goes in and plays pool, and you know, and pretends he can't play, and then just cleans the table. You know, but you do crazy things to survive, I guess, sometimes. And
if it works, why not?
Yeah. So, but as I get older, my voice isn't as high as it used to be. But little bassier now, so I got to stay away from some of the old songs I used to sing. So.
Yeah. Cool. Right. We do have some questions, but I've got a quick question because I wrote it down, but you kind of hit on it. So you were saying that you used the SLS camera.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's your take, truthfully, on these phone apps that you get for investigating? Whether it's the spirit box ones or the ones that do the little green stick man and all that kind of stuff. Because to be honest, I'm not convinced that they're legit. I'm not saying they're not, but in my opinion, I think a lot of them are preloaded, and they just say, like, as we always go back to AI, it pick up what it thinks looks like a person, so it'll show you the stick man.
Yeah,
but I'm like, I can't see it.
Yeah, I think with the phone app and all that, it's not for research, it's more for fun. You know, what it's picking up is I could point it at a picture of somebody on the wall. It's going to pick up that person's picture. The problem with the phone app is it picks everything up, not like the regular SLS camera that actually picks up the energy or the movement of a body giving off heat or cold or movement and has shape. You know, those aren't always accurate either, but the actual SLS camera through the Kinect's Xbox 360 that Bill Chappell developed, those are more accurate, but there's still things you have to discern. Because I could point it at, let's say there's a fan and there's one of those stand-up fans. If I point it at it, it's going to do a stick figure because it looks like a body, but it's giving off electricity. So it's going to create a stick figure. All right. Yeah. So you have to discern that. But the best thing is when you pick up something, you say, can you wave at me? And it goes like that. Then you know you have an audience, which is great for somebody like me that I'm trying to communicate. If I'm communicating, I'm facing you guys, you know, right now, right? I'm facing my phone. If I know I'm facing the spirit and I'm talking to them, it carries more weight than if I don't know where the spirit is. I start talking, I hear them, but they're pointing the other way. We're back to back. It's less you know, that I use the SLS camera because I want to know what's there and what potentially I have an audience. It's not for me to put online. I've had weird stuff. If you go on my TikTok, I have Archangel the Paranormal. I have an SLS footage actually pinned, and it was at the trolley museum, and there was a guy standing there, and he had a figure crawling on him. And I said, "Can you feel anything?" And he's touching right where the figure's touching. So that's kind of pretty profound. Probably the most profound thing I ever had was, you know, I think we're working on a book about this case, but in general, just really quickly, is the case in the early 1920s at this house. The guy that lived there, he had 4 kids, his wife, and the wife cheated on him, and he bludgeoned his wife to death in front of these kids. So years later, I have an SLS camera in the area where this murder supposedly happened, and popping up on the SLS camera was 2 stick figures, and one looked like it was bludgeoning the other one, like it was reenacting the death. I tried to communicate with it thinking it was residual, but it was communicating back because it was banging on the wall every time I tried to get it to stop what it was doing. Banging on the wall, banging on the wall, and the banging finally stopped, and the one figure left, and the other one was sitting there. And I said to the figure, "If you don't want to be here anymore to keep repeating this cycle," I said, "I'm going to reach my hand out, just touch my hand." And you see the stick figure reach out, touch my hand, and disappear. And the energy totally changed after that. You know, it's giving somebody, you know, that ability to get away from the trauma they didn't know they were able to. But it happened right on an SLS camera, you know. Is it legit? I don't know, but that's pretty profound that it happens. I've used a lot of equipment that did more than what it advertised has, which always blows my mind. But, you know, even with apps on your phone, I still think the best one that I've had the best experience with, it costs like $10, one-time fee. It's the Necrophonic. I've had some crazy stuff happen on that. Case in point, there's a book coming out about the Enfield haunting in Enfield, Connecticut. I have a chapter in that book. It's supposed to come out on December 13th, written by Rebecca Pittman, who's a best-selling art author in true crime and paranormal. So that's going to be coming out. And I was sitting there with the family. It was about 3 a.m. I stayed at the house for about a week, and there it is. So I was staying in the house for about a week with some other people, and we were sitting there with the Necrophonic, and there was talk when the house was first built in 1771 to early 1800s, there was no history. So they couldn't find anything because really a lot of that stuff was lost. But they do have tons of history. This whole book's, it's just the history there's crazy with murders and suicides and everything else you could think of. But, you know, that used to be Indian land. It was right by the Connecticut River, so most Indians would stay near a water source and all that. And I asked to the spirits, I said, well, during that time, what was going on here? And we just let it play, and we heard voices, British accents, coming through the Necrophonic. So I was like, okay, maybe the British were here at the time and living in the area. And then all of a sudden, through the Necrophonic, I heard gunshots go off. The crazy part is that's not how the Necrophonic should work. It all it does is it puts, you know, sounds out where in theory the spirit could put together and form a word. It's like, how the heck do you put together gunshots? So it was coming through the Necrophonic, which blew my mind. But it told me in my mind's eye that, you know, the British were there. There was a massacre of Indian tribes in that area. Maybe the house was there, acted. I said, well, if you guys are here in this house, what did the house act as? And I says, you know, they were like injuries or something. And then I said, well, how many of you died? There was like 40 of us. So, and it's coming through. So I'm thinking at the time that house was under British control at one time when it was first built. The guy that started the town, it was his house. But then, you know, I don't know what happened after that, but we're kind of thinking, well, British like took over, and it was like a makeshift maybe hospital for a little bit or anything like that. That's just speculation. But what was coming through made me think that, you know, has a feel and connection to spirit at that moment. So it was pretty profound. So I've gotten a lot of cool things through Necrophonic. It's called my name quite a bit. So whatever device works for me and helps me get in touch with spirit, whether people believe it works or not. If it works for me, then I like it.
Yeah.
So it may not work for everybody else. Again, it's the intention you put into the instrumentation. So that's what you get out of it. So
And that book is coming out next week, right? It's coming out next Friday.
Yeah, as long as nothing's held up. There's still like a final reading and all that, but I should be getting a copy of it pretty soon and all. And it'll be available probably on Amazon, all those types of things. I'll make sure I put something out on the site once it comes out. And
we'll try to link out when it's available.
She's written a lot of books. If you go under Rebecca Pittman online, there's a lot of stuff she's wrote about Lizzie Borden House. All the big name places and true crime stuff. I've been doing this series with Family Spirit International. We changed it up and we're doing 8 weeks of serial killers, murders, and all that. So they wanted me to come on and give my expertise. This Monday, we're doing Samuel Little, who was the most prolific serial killer in the history of the United States with the most confirmed murders. But the week after, I talked to Rebecca because she wrote a book about Pam Hupp. Now, Pam Hupp, there was a movie out about her crazy murder, and she's getting to the point where she might have been part of 3 murders, making her a serial killer once that goes through. It's still in court, but they made a movie about it, like a series called There's Something About Pam. So she supposedly set up her friend's husband to take the fall for a murder, and she's collecting on insurance policies and all that. And there's so much stuff that comes up that she might have murdered her own mother for the same purpose. And she murdered another boy with mental illness to make it look like the husband, to take pressure off of her. And this was all going on, and there was a whole movie about it. Just
I've heard of her.
Yeah.
Probably
look into it. Anybody
2 years ago.
Just look up the Wikipedia. Man, this woman was nuts. I think, probably one of the craziest one. I look at her more crazy than I thought Eileen Wuornos was, which is the most like modern known female serial killer and all that.
Yeah.
But you don't know what we're dealing with some of these people. It's just nuts. Just talking about it and the psychosis and just trying to get into their minds and why they did what they did. It makes for fun to watch, and listen.
But the thing is, I was never really into true crimes and that. It's just something that I was not that big on. But some of the podcasts that I was listening to, it's like you got the connection straight away if you think about it with true crime and paranormal because of the energy and the emotions of everything that's gone on. Straight away, bang, you've got the most weird shit going on ever because of that. Because, like you said, because of the mass trauma of it all.
It is. I retired from the state of Florida. I was a criminal behaviorist down there, crisis management and all. That's kind of the true crime connection to that. But it is. The paranormal and true crime are very similar, especially with serial killers. They go through trauma, but what makes them click to become that? We all have trauma, and they go through that and they make that decision to do that. And they all serial killers have that pattern, but we don't know what their fingerprint is. It's the same thing with the paranormal. We all know there's a haunting, but what's the fingerprint of it? Why is it going on? Who's here? What's this? It's all the same thing. You're never really going to be 100% right or wrong about the mind of a serial killer. It's the same with the paranormal. That's where it all connects. I think that's why I'm so into both, because they're so similar to me. So in my experience. Chase.
Never give up. Never stop chasing.
Going down the rabbit hole, baby.
Yes.
All right, we got another question.
Sure.
Go.
Loving the show, guys, from Ross Gilbert. Why don't we see any naked ghosts?
But we do. Ish. So do you know what I said I'm going to put a picture on? So Ross put a thing in the chat earlier. Sorry, I do mean to jump in on this, but let's explain why. So he put, before that, he put this up. It's not a question, but I was just comment with what was going through the chat. That's why I don't think graveyards aren't haunted. Why haunt a place where you're miserable? right?
Yeah.
So I get that. I totally understand that. I'm not saying that I agree with it. I do get it's a resting place, and why would you want to keep going back to the place where you've been dumped, basically?
Yeah.
But I was out doing an investigation with Sarah. She come down to the area where I live, and I've not uploaded it. So just right, give me a minute. So there's a cemetery near me, and we've had loads of different things going on there.
Mhm.
If you bear with me 1 minute, I will get it uploaded onto the here so I can show you. But
all right, let's let Tom
you move
speak
to the next one.
about the naked ghosts while
Yeah.
you load.
Well, I'll get to the naked ghost in a second, but just the cemetery thing. Some cemeteries are haunted. You think of it this way: your loved one dies, and you go to their grave every day and grieve. You could leave that energy there. That could be why it's haunted. There are cases where there are protective spirits that look over the cemetery to keep the dead protected. That might try and chase you out. That's why sometimes you feel that doom feel in a cemetery too. That thought that could come into it. But naked ghosts, I've never seen a naked ghost, but can it happen? Of course. I think, they always tell you, make sure you're wearing something nice when, you die. But, that could be what it is. But again, we're never going to know. But hey, if I'm naked and have a heart attack and die, maybe I'm going to be, walking around naked for the rest of my days in the spirit world. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never seen a naked ghost. A lot of times they don't manifest enough to tell if they're naked or not. So, but we don't know.
Like, when you pass, can you portray yourself as you want to be? Like, because I know that some spirits maybe died older, they come through as younger. Like, why would you want to show up naked?
Yeah. All right. Well, let me tell you something. Yeah, you're probably right on that. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I live in Berlin, Connecticut, and there's a house near me. And there was a little boy that grew up there, but his family, his mom or his dad died when he was very young, and the mom was from France and moved him over to France when he was younger. And he got the mom got involved with Aleister Crowley, and she was one of the Scarlet women for him, and really got deep into that life, and to the point where the family got the kid out, and he was a male kid, and there was another female sibling after the fact. That the female sibling went with the aunts, and they didn't know what to do with the boy, so they sent him to live with his aunt and uncle here in Berlin, Connecticut. Now, he lived to be 80 years old, worked for Pratt and Whitney, whatever. But the thing is the people that moved into the house, the male of the house kept seeing a young boy looking out the window like he was waiting for somebody. So the boy taken away from his mother, not knowing what's going on at that age, looking out the window, waiting for his mom probably to come home. That was the trauma. That's his trauma keeps showing up as him as a young boy of that moment is imprinted there. So yeah, you could change, your age or anything, but I think a lot of the times is the spirits are showing us that moment of trauma. They're telling us a story by showing us the age it happened, and us to be able to figure out the story. And again, help them. You want to still be here, you don't, those types of things. So we have to pay attention to that. There's no such thing as a coincidence. You see it for what it is, and you take it for what it is, and you don't complicate it. And that way you can help, like I said, the living and the dead. So,
yeah, I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I can now not find this picture.
Is it from a graveyard or?
Yeah, so it's from a cemetery that's around the corner from me. And Sarah had come down. She's part of To Investigate. So it's like Nicole, these 4 females, paranormal group. And we was filming, we was doing a live stream. And it was Og and I think Simon in the chat that noticed this image, and we walked straight back. There was nobody there.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like there's someone on the knees leaning forward, like, you know, like I imagine like with binoculars, like leaning forward. So the back goes across, bum goes down to the knees and on the floor. But if you look closer, it looks like it's someone on top of somebody else and they're naked. It looks like ghost sex, basically.
Yeah.
And so all my photos, I back them all up onto Google Photos.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm scrolling through to where I scrolled through the other day and got the other images that I've got. And now my phone is just frozen and I can't do anything.
Yeah.
And I downloaded it all and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So I don't get it. But if Og sent me the screenshot of it, so she might still have it. So if you have, could you please send it again? Because obviously I want to show Thomas exactly what it is, because it is a really good It is a good capture. I hate that saying. Good capture.
Look into this. Look into this for me if you do the research. Try and find out if there was a murder near that cemetery or a sexual this is what I'm picking up on. Somebody might have been raped in the cemetery, and it's showing you residually what you saw. So if you could find something maybe over the last like 50 years, maybe, I think you might have been seeing something residual. Somebody was reaching out to say, help me. This is what happened to me. I have trauma. So that's kind of what you're describing. Because if you saw, it looked like two people like they were in an act and all that. Sometimes you see some of the craziest stuff, and some people don't have the heart to see some of that stuff. I've seen some crazy things, but through my energy I'm getting off of you and what you're describing, I think something bad happened in that cemetery to somebody. And,
well, it's like
showing residually.
It looked like someone was leaning over a gravestone and had a camera or binoculars.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you look more into it, it looks like I said, a person on top of somebody else.
Yeah.
But I do know there was an accident where there's a guy on a bike. He come off his bike and he ended up getting decapitated.
Mm-hmm.
And now when there's a thunderstorm, apparently you see the headless cyclist riding around. Yeah. I've never seen that happen. But I don't know why I cannot find this photo. Yeah. Because
the cyclist is seen when there's like a thunderstorm.
Yeah. And there's never thunderstorms around here.
Yeah, well, I tell you, that energy, it's that catalyst that brings out some of the things when we're able to see. Not everybody could see and all that, but I tell you, there are spirits that will show themselves to show you what happened to them, because they're asking for help. They're reaching out for help, just like us as humans. People do things to get attention because, hey, I'm hurting inside. Can you help me? Sometimes they do it in a weird way. I think the spirit world still does the same thing. They might show you what happened to them, and that's the trauma that happened to them, I say, try and find out the history of that area. If there was like a murder, sexual assault, or anything like that, I think you'll probably find something. So.
Yeah. See, I do go there quite a lot. Mm-hmm. Not as much as I used to go, but it's still quite often.
Yeah.
But why? I don't get why the image is now not there. Because what day was it? So we're on Friday now.
Because whatever was in that picture doesn't want you to show it to me right now. So
the thing I've shown it on here before.
Yeah.
I uploaded it onto the PC.
Well, there's a reason being. If you showed me the picture, I looked at it, we would have went on, and I wouldn't have been able to tell you about what you need to look into about that area. So I think there's always a purpose for everything. Nothing's a coincidence, synchronicity, whatever. I think you not being able to find that photo gave me the opportunity to tell you what came through spiritually for me to pass on to you to look into.
Yeah, probably that. Yeah. I'm just having a quick look now to see if August sent it me, and even where she sent it me, it's not there.
it really doesn't want you to show it.
Yeah.
Oh, how? Anyway, it's not there. I can't find it.
That's okay. We'll
It's so annoying though.
yeah.
But yeah, so it was just this. It was there, and we walked. So obviously, you've got paths that go through.
Mhm.
It's a community cemetery. So place where I live is Northampton. So you've
Yeah.
got all the little parish cemeteries, like for that, that village.
Yep.
Well, this is one of the big ones. It's on one of the main roads on the way out. So you've got all different sections. So there's a lot of paths. You can drive around it. Probably, if you used to walk around, it'd probably take you about an hour and a half to walk like the full perimeter. So we're cutting through, and we'd seen the guy sat on the bench earlier. You could smell he was smoking weed. Anyway, at this point, he'd gone. So we're cutting through across the top. So it goes up to a peak, and at that top, you can see all the way around. So as we got there, we didn't see it until afterwards, and we walked right through where this thing was that we picked up, and there was no one else there. Just me there, and that was it. Not oversaw about. It's just that's proper done my head in now.
Yeah. I still think there's a story there. The story there that you're going to uncover. I feel it.
I'll try. I'll find out, and I'll get back to you on it and see what I can get from it.
Mm-hmm.
But we've had all sorts of stuff going in that cemetery. We've got the infamous bench guy. There's another time where I felt like I got put in a bubble. Like I didn't realize at the time, but it was a protection bubble. Whatever was going on, I was pulled away from that. Only for a few seconds, but it felt like a lifetime.
Yeah.
And then everything just went back to normal.
Yeah, you'd be surprised.
So,
you know, we all have spirit guides, whether we recognize them there or not. Sometimes they're the ones that we like, oh, I think I'm going to take a left today. It's not you making that decision. It's somebody putting that thought into your mind to make that left to keep you safe. Whether they put you in that bubble or whatever that situation was is something they didn't want you to experience at the time that you weren't probably 100% ready for. You know, and just with experience, that's, you know, as I tell you things and all that, hopefully it's something that you look into a little further. And it helps you. Like I said, you don't have to believe everything I say, but this is how
I believe all that.
Yeah.
Because last week I was either got stuck in traffic. I had really crap days at work every day last week. But if I'd have been on time or a little bit earlier than what it should have been to get to the different places, each area there'd been a pretty bad smash where they closed the road and air ambulance and all that was involved. So I'm looking at it that I was avoiding all them probably death or near death encounters.
Yep.
So totally get what you're saying about that.
Yeah, it's totally true, because for me, as I more and more experience, but back in the day, I would question myself. Why am I feeling this way? And just, you know, and I think that really ruins my path. I'm more of I trust when that thought comes into my mind during the situation, I go with it, you know, and I think that's kept me safe, a lot safer over the last few years than any other years where I trust it more. So yeah, you're always learning. You're going to go through your whole life still learning. Once you stop learning, I think that's your day to be 6 feet under. But, you know, we're always learning. So, and we have to, you know, pay attention to those things and experience those things. And that gets us going in the right direction.
Yeah.
And on the whole safety and protection note, I wants to know, do you ever take any protection with you when you go out investigating?
My intention, protection wise, not really. Being a shaman, my protection is my spirit guides and them giving me the right information. You know, there's nothing really, I hate to say we're in a complicated field, but I don't complicate it. I think the more we complicate it and the way we look at it, you know, the less information we're going to get from it. I do use certain things, you know, I do have stuff on. I do have, you know, I have that's selenite and tourmaline.
Yes.
Black tourmaline. I have that on my wrist all the time. I don't really look at it as protection. It's just something more of thanking my ancestors around me and all that. But yeah, if I go to bless somebody's land, somebody's home and all that, there are things that we use, you know, in the shaman world, you know, there's the four big medicines, you know, you got sage, you got cedar, you got tobacco, you know, and you have sweetgrass, and those four things together are very sacred in the shamanistic world or indigenous world and all that. And those are used a lot to burn in the sacred fire when you're blessing somebody's land, or to the point where you call the four directions, which is preparing that ceremony when calling on the north, east, south, west, calling on the archangels, calling on, you know, spirit animals. Animals are medicine in the shaman world. So those types of things. Yeah, if you're talking about protection, I more look at myself as I know who I am. I know who's around me. I know how to ground myself. I think more of the protection is for the people that I'm helping, in the spirits that are still around. So I think it's more protection for them than for myself.
I like that because I go into it too with the intent. Like sometimes, you know, in a particularly bad situation, like sage or Florida water or something, just kind of amplify that intent and direct it. But
yeah, you have to be really careful of what you use. You know, certain situations, like for me, being a shaman is different than, you know, if I'm dealing with an evil entity, as opposed that a Catholic priest would do in an exorcism. Mine's a lot different, but it's still trying to get the same outcome. It is different. I'm more esoterically diverse, which I'm more open to a lot of different things, because not everybody's a Christian, not everybody's a Catholic. You know, I might go in a house where somebody's of a different faith, and I have to get into that energy because that's the energy they're putting out, and that's the energy I have to kind of move and help them with. So you have to understand on all aspects of it. So if you don't, it's not that you'll make it worse, but I don't think your outcome will be as close to 100% as you want it to be.
Yeah. No,
and
get
on that note, Adam wanted to know, Thomas, I've been looking into using crystals and smudging. Any views or advice?
Stay away from smudging. Smudging, I really wouldn't refer to that. I'm a shaman, so I use the term smudging is because I was a chosen person to be able to do it. I think it's not 100% if you don't have that background. There's different ways of looking at it. Look into the pagan ways of just clearing energy. I wouldn't call it smudging unless you do have that background. You know, crystals are great. I have a big piece of tourmaline at my front door. That's anytime somebody comes in, it absorbs that energy and all that. And I relieve it on the full moon, and I could move that energy out. So there's different things like that. Selenite's very good for keeping you grounded and all that. There's a lot of crystals that do different things. They're all good. Again, I like to use them to, you know, protect the people that are coming into my house and all that, you know, absorb their energy so they don't bring it into what I've prepared my home in the calmness of my home. So it's protecting, you know, my wife and, you know, my cats and all the other that's in my house. But yeah, you know, anything you put intention to it and you have belief in it and all that, it's going to work for you. So, you know, even with sage, some people use sage and all that. Like I said, it's still, you know, you don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, like when you get a spirit mad, you don't want to do that. You don't want to be disrespectful is the word I was looking for. If you're using white sage and you're not of that chosen shamanistic, indigenous and all that, they kind of find it disrespectful, you know, unfortunately. But I think the intent still has to be there. You still have to give respect to the ancestors before you even use white sage. You can't just go use it willy-nilly. There is, you know, that disrespect there. So really, smudging wise and all that, it really do your due diligence and all. There's other ways of clearing stuff out to be a little to the point where you're more 100% helping the client instead of disrespecting maybe something there. Because I've had people use sage and people, oh, it didn't go away. Yeah, some of the spirits went away, but you know, the spirits of the indigenous people that are still there are kind of pissed off at you now. And you just created another situation. You know, there's a different way of dealing with that. I could write a book on it. I could go all night on it, but you guys get it. You know, anytime you disrespect something, you're up against something else. So.
Yeah, well, that's it. You don't know how much power and how it uses the energy that it's either made of or has. What's the word? It can access. That's it.
Yeah, when you do some of these ceremonies, you're opening yourself up to that spirit world. You have to know what you're dealing with. You have to do it with respect. You have to do it with knowledge. Just because you watch it on TV doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Especially, like I said, dealing with white sage or any of those types of things, knowing the sacredness of it and having that respect for it. That way it'll work for you better, having that respect for it. So
yeah,
that's the way I look at it. Even with crystals and all that, everything has vibration to it. You have to know how that vibration's working and use the things that are going to work to take care of that situation. Because if you don't use them right, you're really not doing much. You're just running in place. So, and that's kind of how I look at it. That's what the experience again, and trying different things and seeing things as they are. And, I've gone into a lot of situations where, again, somebody tried to do good, but got more harm out of it, and you just kind of have to fix it, which is difficult sometimes. You go into a place that has an energy, and then somebody puts the wrong energy in there. Now you're dealing with two different energies, which makes it a little more difficult to help.
So do you ever find that these energies combine and make it a lot more difficult for you to do what you're doing?
Yeah. A lot of times with, I don't go to a lot of the places that people that go to a lot over and over and over again. If somebody called me to go help them, I was like, how am I going to help somebody at the Lizzie Borden house when hundreds of people have gone through that place? It's cool, but what am I actually getting? Am I actually getting the history of Lizzie Borden, Andrew Borden, and all the people that live there, or am I getting the people that put that thought and that energy into the house over the years? It's hard to discern. So I really don't. I'll go do like fundraisers. I'll go help people with, their paracons. I'll appear and all that other stuff. But majority of the time, I only go to places that ask me for help.
Yeah.
A lot of the times it hasn't been hunted over and over and over and over again and all that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people need to learn, and that's the best way to learn at a place that you might get some kind of activity because of how much stuff goes on there. But, everybody has their thing. So, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm never going to tell anybody they're wrong for doing what they do. If that helps you on the right path, then do it that way. But again, all of us in this have to realize we're all going to make our mistakes doing this, and you have to learn from them. Don't keep repeating them. You should grow from it and all that. If you have to do it that way, and I always tell people that first get into the paranormal, it's all intention. So anybody asks me when you get into it, intention, and also make sure that you go on some of these adventures. Like I know Nicole has them with her group, and you probably have them that people get to come with you, and they learn from people that have that experience, and that way they develop it that way. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what that's what I do. I'm in teaching mode. Some of these people come on our events are brand new. They never had an experience, and some of them are been doing it for a long time that just want to see another opinion. So that's what it's about. So,
Speaking of which, you have some cool stuff coming up, right? You have the Shaman and the Snowman.
Yes, the Shaman and the Showman. Cut the Showman out and have Snowman. So next Friday at the Transylvania restaurant, it's a Romanian restaurant, Dracula theme in East Haven, Connecticut. We're going to be having our haunted Christmas party. So it's going to be filled with all kinds of haunted Christmas haunted trivia from movies that have a Christmas horror theme to it. We're going to be doing like what they call a Yankee swap or a white rabbit, where we'll have like a spooky gift and you get to pass it around and everybody picks at different times and, all kinds of different things. Well, my partner is a DJ, so we'll have all the DJ equipment up, playing some cool Christmas songs. And it's just the end of the year after all of us in the paranormal have really been going at it, and just the time to just sit and relax with each other and laugh and talk about stuff and just still have that that theme in the background is going to be exciting. But that same weekend, that's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we'll be at Foolproof Brewery in Bridgeport, Connecticut. And that's going to be our psychic fair, which is always big for us because all of our psychics, they've all been thoroughly looked at and all that. They're some of the best in New England. And you get the opportunity, especially coming to the end of the year, just to get that end of the year out of the way and get the feel or get in touch with somebody that's going to help you in the new year and all that. So that's why we like doing our winter one. And that's going to be exciting. That's free admission. So you just come, have a beer, go sit whoever you feel the most energy from. So I always say we have all these, psychics and mediums set up. And we also have vendors because we don't want to have the psychics and the mediums on top of each other because picking up on different energy. So it's usually a psychic and then a vendor selling candles or something. And
yeah,
it's always exciting. It's always a big thing for us. And of course, the book's coming out about the 1771 Enfield haunting. Also, I appeared on an episode of Dark Echoes on Paraflix. My episode that I'm on is going to be coming out very soon, probably sometime before the end of the month. So I'll make sure I post that. That should be pretty exciting. That was at a place in Pennsylvania, Bath, Pennsylvania. It was called the Bath Exchange. It was a hotel back in the day, and now it's like a bar and grill now. And pretty exciting. In my side of it, wait till you see, because you get to see what I do best. So, yeah.
See, I still say I'm in the wrong country.
You are in the wrong
There's
country.
nothing going on here.
No.
And when I say nothing, I mean nothing. The odd thing here and there.
All the things.
Yeah.
So you have stuff going on, but then you have.
That's what I'm involved in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have stuff going on, and then you have more stuff going on with that stuff, and it's like you're a Russian doll. You just keep going and going and going.
Well, it's nonstop. I have a normal job, which I work 50 hours a week, and then I do all this stuff. I never stop. My kids are all grown and out of the house. My youngest is 23. And I didn't get when they were home, I still did this stuff. But now that they're on their own adulting, I have more time to dive back in and put myself more out there. And I feel like I'm working more now than I did when my kids were home. So, and it's a big thing, and they get to take part in that, and they grew up with it, and also they understand that. So does my wife, and she understands that. And I travel a lot, so I speak in a lot of different areas and all that. And I get a lot of invitations to come out to stuff, and it's hard when you run your own events business. It's hard to get to other people's stuff. I will be at Parapsychology this year in Ohio, so I'll be there, and that'll be quite a bit of fun. But other than that, the only other things I'm doing are my own events, because that's all I have time for. It's hard to get time off from your normal job and do all this stuff.
Tell me about it.
But a lot of our investigations that we do, because I'm usually off at my normal job Fridays and Mondays. And usually when we do an investigation, it's a Friday I'm off, like we're talking now because I'm off.
Yeah.
And Saturdays I get out of work earlier than usual. Usually we get out at 8 during the week, and it's like leaves me nothing to do, but it's like 6 on Saturday. So it gives me an hour to get back to the area and continue that second night when we do investigations and all that. So, but it's tough. I'm constantly going, but the thing is I love it. I love helping people. I love, being able to talk about weird stuff. And when you come to our events, you're with other weirdos like us, and it's a safe place. You get to talk about, the questions that you have. Maybe somebody there, not only me or somebody else there that's been doing it for a while, gives you that answer that makes you go, oh, okay, I'm going to look into it a little differently. I'm jumping down the rabbit hole in a different way. That's what community is all about. I don't like the fact that in this community sometimes there's the, again, the ego and the infighting and all that other stuff. I don't like that. We should all come together and learn from each other. And when we do that, we make our community better. We learn more, and we look at it. Nobody's better than anybody else because it's paranormal. Nobody knows. Nobody could say, I know. You don't know. So stop. It's experience. You have an idea. Let's test this out. Let's test that out. There's so many people that is like, okay, that's a cool theory, but how did you come about that theory? You know?
Yeah,
Okay,
you have
this
to
is
be
what
able to
happened.
back it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, don't just say somebody's wrong. Why am I wrong? Why do you think I'm
Yeah.
wrong? If you can't
Yeah.
answer that, then keep your mouth shut. You know, I'm just going to put it straight up like that. You know?
And a lot of
Yeah.
it is just agree to disagree. Like, you might have different views, but you
Yeah.
can respect each other's views because you know that
Exactly.
that is 100%
It is. It's all about respect. You know, we respect the
Yes.
spirits. Let's respect each other as investigators or researchers or whatever way we're in the paranormal that is putting us on our path. So that's what it is. Stop complicating it. You know, you know, people say, "Well, I'm right." Why are you right? If you can't tell me why and have a good theory behind it, then don't say anything. So, you know, in the competition, there is no competition. We're all trying to do it. There's enough. There's enough room in the sandbox to play. So let's all play in the sandbox nicely. So,
I say that all the time. I'm like, there's enough spirits for everybody. Like,
exactly. Yeah. My friend Joe says, if you can't play nice in the sandbox, get out. So he's exactly right, you know. But yeah, that's what it is. Let's give each other respect, and even if we don't agree and all that, I always like, let's have an open conversation. Let's talk about it.
Oh yeah,
you know,
definitely.
if anybody has, like I always tell everybody, don't put it out online because you just make yourself look bad too. You know, if you have a problem, like if Nicole like had a disagreement with me, I'd like to sit with her, have a beer or have a coffee and talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's about.
Drink beer or coffee.
Yeah.
So
Both
we're
at the
already
same time. I think, didn't we have beer and coffee at Mass Paracon?
No, I don't drink beer or coffee. We also didn't have bourbon because they didn't know what
we were doing the bourbon. Yeah. Bourbon is my favorite thing. So, yeah.
I feel so left out.
Support cheese.
The what? Oh.
We'll sit down over to emotional support cheese.
Yeah, emotional support cheese. So we had that. Oh my God, that was so great. We had such a good time. All just kind of the camaraderie that we had over that weekend was fantastic. Yeah, you get to know different people and just talk about weird crap and just, you know, have that safe place. We all had a safe place, and the emotional support cheese always helps, and the bourbon always helps. And
I could do all that, not a problem.
Yeah, this was at Mass Paracon. That's actually where we met, at Mass Paracon. Just hanging out with Johnny's office. We were like, okay, he must be good people.
Yeah. Well, Johnny and I was funny because we hadn't seen each other in years, and we're like, and we're sitting. Well, they had this VIP thing coming up. He's like, I'm hungry. You're hungry. So somebody said there was a restaurant. So we started walking. There's no damn restaurant. So we get back. We get in Johnny's car. And we're driving up, and there was a high school there. It looked like a castle. I was like, this is crazy. So we go up, and it was like, you know, well, we're here by the water. Let's get some seafood. So we go on the GPS and all that in this place. And we go, the place isn't there anymore, but it's still on the GPS. We're like, oh, let's just drive and maybe we'll find something. There was this like little hole in the wall, like seafood place. It was called like Somebody's Seafood. It was like, oh, that's a great name. So we just decided, well, we got to get back soon. So let's just go in. And man, that place was incredible. $12. I got like fried scallops and it was piled on the plate. I mean, like, $12, and it was fantastic. And we just started telling everybody about the place. A few people went after. It was really good. You never know some of these towns, the hole in the wall place that has all the good food. And it's the same thing. A lot of these towns, you have the hole in the wall paranormal stuff going on too. Those are always fun also, that nobody knows about, off the beaten path, doing your history, talking to the people in the town. What's weird that goes on here in this town and all that. And that's how Charles and I get a lot of our locations to bring people on. You know, we've gone to people's homes and they allowed us to come in with a group and, you know, different things like that. You know, in Bristol, there was the witch's house where supposedly a witch lived at one time, and we brought a group in there. You know, we just did a Masonic lodge that nobody's ever really been allowed to go in publicly and do an investigation. There's only been maybe one or two with people that were part of the Masons that were allowed. We're the first people that weren't of the Masonic lodge to come in and investigate, and that was pretty profound. So, you know, but just stuff like that, you know, the little places and the things that people miss. And I know you went to the Mark Twain house, but like I said, if you ever come back, I'll show you some I'll show you some places that are pretty off the chain and that, you know, they can make movies about, but nobody knows about them, you know.
See, when I come back, this is the thing though. When I come back, I'm going to be there forever. It's going to be like the longest holiday.
Well, forget England. Come to New England.
New England.
Yeah. Nicole, you're not that far away from me. I'm
in New York.
You're right nearby. You know, you got to come up for some of the stuff. I'd like to get your group involved with us at something. You know, that would be cool. So
do a collab anytime.
Yeah, I think we definitely have to because the energy's good there. So I always like the good energy. Yeah. Andy, you got to get over here. We got to get your energy involved too.
I'm gonna do a GoFundMe to buy a house and get a green. Will I need a green card? I don't think I will. I just need to have like 100 grand in the bank.
It's fine, Andy.
We'll find a volunteer to marry you.
Fine. I'll find a ghost. I'll just marry a ghost. That'll
We'll pay him to marry you and get your green card.
Okay, there's a disclosure conference in July, and then it lines up kind of with the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash in July. So I'm convincing Andy to say.
But one's in Florida, and then obviously the other's up in Gettysburg, so it's a bit of a trek.
Yeah, I think it's either the
half drive.
Yeah, I think the weekend before or the weekend after the bash in July is the Connecticut Paracon.
So you have to stay another week.
So if it's a weekend before, that's when we're supposed to be in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Yeah.
But if it's a week after, work are not going to be impressed with me.
St. Petersburg.
I'm not going to be in summer because I'm in America.
There's nothing better than Gettysburg and Connecticut in July with paranormal stuff. There's always a lot. July seems to be around the summertime is when all the big events start kicking up again, all the way through the end of the year.
Because everybody's promoting all the October.
Yeah. Yeah, but we always got big events coming up.
So far, I'm off from the 12th of July to the 21st.
Yep.
But it might have to be added to the 31st. Excuse me.
All our Charles and I's events, usually our big Paracons are always the second weekend of the months. So the second weekend of November for Salem, the second weekend of July.
So that would be when I'm flying out, would be that weekend.
Yeah.
11th, 12th.
Yeah, so I think that, what is that, Saturday and Sunday would be the 12th and 13th, maybe? So,
It's all working out. It's kismet.
And the Florida doesn't start till the 14th, but we don't really have to get there to the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
No, it starts on the 15th. It's a 4-day event. So we're doing 15, 16, 17, 18.
Perfect. We just made a plan.
Yeah,
and on that
note. Next question.
Right, we've got a couple more questions.
Yeah.
I've got to do this one first. Do they have Lidl in the US? Lidl is like Aldi, but not as good.
What is it?
Supermarket, grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know, so you go in Aldi, you have all the crap in the middle, you end up buying loads of stuff. You go in for like a tin of soup or something, you end up buying like a garden furniture set and owl made out of wool, stuff like that. Lidl is worse than Aldi for stuff like that.
Huh.
Apparently there is. I just Googled it, but not around me.
No, don't bother. It's awful. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, we go there if we have to, if there's nowhere else open. It's one of those.
So, next one, Grandier. Have you ever debunked a case where a ghost research team claimed there was a spirit at a dwelling? If so, can you say who you debunked?
Ooh.
I would never call anybody out like that. Like I said before, I don't go on social media or I don't go live and I don't call out other people.
No.
You know, I have gone into other places where somebody scared the crap out of the person there and it really wasn't anything. And trying to talk them out of it became very difficult. You know, but I'll never call anybody out, but there are places here in Connecticut that TV shows went to and created more problems, and I had to go in after the fact. I won't name any shows. I will never call anybody out on the chopping block because that would be very unprofessional of me. And just the same thing, it's unprofessional to call anybody out unless you sit there, like I said, have your coffee with them, talk it out why you think it's something that you need to talk about. Yeah, nobody else needs to know.
No,
you know, that's the better way to do it, and it's going to keep our community a lot more positive and a lot more reasons to collaborate and work together with like-minded people that you get along with, and those things that you could trust, that you're up for the same reasons. So, not competition.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Last question: is poltergeist the same phenomena as a ghost?
No. The thing is a ghost is very open definition. Ghost means different things to everybody. Really, if you really look at it, the word ghost came from the German word Geist, which is actually translates to puff of smoke. So that's kind of how it appears, and that's what it kind of stemmed from in our way our language comes together. But poltergeist is more translates into, more like a ghost, but it's more of a playful, like moving stuff around kind of ghost, like a angry
Does it
ghost
mean noisy ghost or something?
Yeah. But
I found the picture.
See, we'll find it sooner or later, huh? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
But no, the poltergeist and all that stuff, it's just different. It's different stuff. It's all paranormal, but I think what we perceive as a ghost or what we see, and I think poltergeist is more of the action of the energy of a spirit.
Yeah.
And the spirit's the ghosts. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Let's see the picture.
Can I send you this picture? I'm just going to upload it now.
Yeah.
I've literally just found it, and I've marked it up in favorites. So
if you expect me to talk to you and see the picture at the same time, it's probably not going to. I'll probably end up like won't be on your show anymore. I won't be able to find my way back. I'm old, and I suck with technology. I had to have teenage kids teach me how to do TikTok so I could like put stuff. I have no idea.
Funny, at last Paracon, actually, I tried to pop into the show because I wasn't going to be there that Friday. I tried to pop in and I ended the show.
Yes. She pressed, and I couldn't do anything to override it. It just it was gone.
Yeah.
So Nicole's name was dirt for quite a while.
Wow.
I felt so bad. I just wanted to say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole show.
Right, this is a pic. So this is the image that wasn't there when we was walking about. So this is a still of about 3 frames from a video.
Yeah.
There was nothing there. It does look like plant pots and what have you, but it's not. We know that there was nothing there. Yeah, and I mean nothing. We walked straight through that. And it was strange because it just literally come out of nowhere.
Yeah. It is odd. When you guys take pictures and all that, of course you're going to take a whole bunch in the same spot. What did you compare? Was it different on other shots?
No, whoa, we didn't see this. Like I said, this is a still from a live stream that was doing.
Somebody like captured it. Okay.
Yeah. So we seen this afterwards. I'm just going to put this one on.
Okay, that's a different spectrum.
Yeah, so that's a shot from someone on the monitor.
Wow.
But you see the legs and it bends up, and then you can see like the bum and the back coming up in the head.
Yeah.
And but then you can see someone underneath it.
Yeah.
And you can see we're heading in that direction. we would have seen them. We would have fell over and would have been embarrassed. The whole works. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see the grass on either side. So clearly, what looked like legs are sticking out. We would have walked and fell over that, whoever or whatever it is.
Yeah, like I said before, I think you captured it. I think it's a residual of something that happened there. You know, but I still think there's a negative connotation to it. What I'm picking up on. I don't think it was just two teenage kids trying to find a spot.
No.
You know,
but it's just strange how it
that won't really show residually. But I think the negative or the trauma of it usually will repeat like that. Somebody wants you to know to look into something, and that's why I'm kind of encouraging you maybe to look into the history around that area if anything happened over the years. So,
yeah. So that's why I wanted to show you, because of how definite the image is, how definitive it is, I should say.
Yeah, because a lot of times you find out what it might have been, and you find out a name, and then when you have that name and you do that history behind it, you could sit there with an ITC device, an open mind, and be able to communicate with that spirit and counsel that trauma. And maybe that's, unfortunately, sometimes people keep going through that. It's on a loop.
Yeah.
You gotta stop the loop. Like I was telling you about earlier with the woman that was bludgeoned to death by her husband, and keep repeating that until you stop the loop. You know, I know it's residual sometimes, or there is some still parts of it where you could change that energy, but you have to be able to communicate and know what it is and know the history, know the names, who you're talking to. So if I started talking to Nicole and I started calling her some other name, you know, she's probably going to start getting pissed off. And, you know, that's with anybody, you know, once you know somebody's name, it's a big thing, especially being a former crisis management and all that. And one of the things we learned during, you know, FBI training with that crisis management is once you know somebody's name, you have control over them. The name is a powerful thing. It's even with people that in the demonology and all that other stuff. Once you know an evil entity's name, you have control over it. So it's just like with anything, you know, people like to hear their name. So
well,
it's the psychology of it. Yeah,
it's respect as well. It shows that you're listening.
I'm in sales, you know. If I think I have a better chance of selling somebody if I know their name and repeat their name to them than anything. There is a psychology behind it. You know, and I think you use it for good, especially in the spirit world. You have to use it for good, and especially in a crisis, you use it for good to take the situation negativity out of it.
Right. Thank you so much for coming on. Considering we was doing 90 minutes on this one, we've like 3 days and 17 hours or whatever it is. But no, it's been really good. Sorry I had to dip out like trying to find that photo, but I just felt it was important to what we was talking about. So I just felt that I had to show it you.
Yeah, I'm glad that you did. Yeah.
Charles at some point.
Yeah, we'll try and come on maybe before Connecticut Paracon or something for one of our big events.
Before we meet up.
Talk about all that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, definitely.
I have so many people to introduce Andy to when he comes over.
Yeah. Pretty good.
We're all just gonna meet at Gettysburg. It's just easy. Just get there and just sit down.
I won't be at Gettysburg. No, I'm not going.
It's fine. I can dip down to Connecticut from Gettysburg. It ain't too far.
You know, Gettysburg is cool. It's just a lot of energy for me. I still don't handle it very well with who I am. And but I'd love to get to it sooner or later. But I think more for me, I have to be invited. I'm like a vampire. You know, if you don't invite me, I'm probably not going to be there. But if you invite me, I'm always gracious and make sure that I make the time for you. But if I'm not invited, I got so much stuff on my plate anyways. But you know, I had a friend invite me to Parapsychology, and I that friend I will never say no to, because she's one of my best friends. She's the female me. I kind of look at it that way, you know, and it's like what makes me laugh, she's laughing. It's almost like, okay, she gets my humor, my dark humor and stuff. And we're constantly in touch and all that. And I'll never say no to her for, those
Yeah.
types of events and all that. So, and
Yeah, no,
I want to make sure I'm there. Plus, I love the Shawshank Redemption. Was one of the favorite movies of all time, and that's where the Parapsychon is that prison that they used for the shots outside the prison. Was that place was used? So that's interesting to me. So yeah, it'll be great.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. No, we got a lot to talk about. Definitely before Paracon.
Yeah,
100%. Right, we are unfortunately going to have to end this now.
Yeah,
it's very late over there.
It's like 11:15. Yeah, we're 5 hours in front. Luckily, I've not got a lot to do this weekend, so but I know I'm going to hear shouting any moment now because people want to go to bed.
And I'm going to sleep and dance tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Thomas, so much for coming on. Absolutely loved it. It was just.
Yep. Anybody that wants to reach out. Yeah. Thomas Patrick Gormley on Facebook, Archangel the Paranormal on TikTok and Instagram. You can reach out, instant message and all that, or anything like that. Friend request. So if we have similar friends, then I'll probably answer it. I try and stay away from crazy stuff.
Randoms.
Yeah, I'm always willing to help as long as you're on the right end and the right energy towards it. I'll help you out.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so thank you again for coming on. When the book comes out, if you send me the link to the book, I'll put it in the description on here. But this is also going out on podcast, so you can listen on Apple, Spotify, whatever else. I don't usually bother with any of the others. They're just the two that I use. So thank you so much for coming on. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you to everyone downloading on Podcast Player. Monday the 9th of December. That's going to be the last Monday that we're going to be doing. Going to be speaking to a guy called Ian Gossett from Atlanta, Georgia. He's going to be talking about his theories and all that kind of stuff. Then on Wednesday, who forgot Wednesday, Nicole? My calendar's just gone off.
I don't know.
Oh, nothing. No, eerie encounters. We're talking about alien spirits.
Yeah, that's true.
And then on the 13th, we have Mr. Australia, Nick Trapiani. He's going to be coming on. And then the following Wednesday, I've had to swap it about. We've got Reverend Wild Bill coming on the 18th because we're doing our Christmas special, which is going to be in black and white on the 20th.
Ooh, black and white. That's cool.
Yeah. We just slide a thing on the camera and it just takes it down. So, it's so simple. So, yeah.
I thought it was something complicated that I don't understand. So,
literally, the hue, you slide it to 0 and it makes everything black and white. Yeah. And that is going to be it then until the 2nd or the 3rd of January, where we have a big lineup of guests that are going to be coming on that I'm going to talk to Nicole about in a moment just before she runs off, because I need to tell her 2 things. So thank you again, Thomas. I have sent you a friend request on Facebook, so please do that.
Maybe
you don't have to go now. It's gone.
We only have some really weird mutual friends, so
yeah,
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Tons of them. Yeah.
So, have a great weekend, everyone. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Og, for doing the moderating, everyone in the chat. And, and thank you for the new subscribers to the membership on the YouTube. So, I think that is everything. So, I will end stream now. I can't find the button then. I'm just brain fogged today. It's
I can find one of those. I can find it.
Yeah, I know.
She knows she could end it all.
Right. So stay creepy. See you all guys soon. See you guys all soon, even. Try again. See you later. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.